So I chased the other thing and wrote like 3 years of absolute dog shit.
Are you recording?
I'm recording.
Okay. You should introduce.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, welcome.
No, do it again.
1, 2, 3.
Why did you pause before 3?
I don't know.
Oh, this is going so well.
Okay. Hi, welcome to Where Writer.
That's so high.
Hi, welcome to Where Writers Write, the channel that takes you to the creative spaces of your favourite writers. I'm Daisy Aitkens. I write for a living. I didn't want to say I am a writer because I'm more than that.
And I'm Tennant, and I am an actress and a producer and the driver.
Yeah, and cameraman, basically. Woman.
Yeah, come on. South Mims Services. I'd like to do a TV show where we just drive around and try out all the service stations.
Oh, that would be great.
But I'd like to do like reviews of it.
Oh, okay. What would be like, this Costa is...
South Mims. With the kids, every now and again we let them like have a yes day. Yellow car I went, I mean not a whole day because that's mad, but we let them do what they want to do, and every single time it has been go to a motorway service station for lunch. And we go and buy the food, and then we sit in the car and eat the food, and then we drive home again.
Who asked for that? All of them. I feel my child
You're
would be more
underestimating how
vindictive.
fun it is to go to M&S and then sit in the car.
Well,
for 20
I
minutes.
really need the loo, so we might have to experience
it's one
it
in
soon.
23 miles. Do you think you've got the bladder control for that?
God damn, why did I have a coffee? And children.
South Mims was just there. We could have stopped there.
Oh,
And then they could have done my first episode.
We're talking to Adrian Poynton today, and he is the creator and writer of White Van Man, starring this one. It's very exciting.
I mean, starring's pushing it, but
I mean, you were
I was
like,
in it. I think I was like
you're
number
like a
4 on the
lead.
call sheet. Now
Oh, number 4. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
he did White Van Man with Will Mellor.
Okay.
Then he went over to
Humbled.
the States to do Family Ties, which was not Family Ties.
No,
he
that
went
would
over
be-
the States to do Family Tools, which was a remake of White Van Man.
No, there are no road signs here. What the fuck is happening here?
He also had a critically acclaimed play.
I did not know this, Daisy.
Yes, it was A Very Naughty Boy, and it even won a coveted Fringe First Award.
Wow.
At
Did
the
you add the
Edinburgh
word
Fringe.
coveted or?
No, this is from his website.
Oh, that's from the website. Very good. When
Oh, he also worked on Sky One's Trolleyed. He's like a jobbing good screenwriter.
He does live too far away from London, though. That's my first observation.
Yeah, started life at Lichfield Youth Theatre, where he was an actor, and then he went on to be a stand-up comic. He was, I would say, coveted in as a comic for warming up audiences.
I
before
remember
show.
that was the first time I ever saw him. Was when he was, I think, he was warming up the audience for Miranda.
Oh wow!
I mean, I might have made that up.
He went to America. He had deals with ABC and NBC. No, CBS.
Some of the letters.
Some 3 letters he had deals with. A long-time Doctor Who fan, he now writes for Big Finish Productions, including George's show, Jenny, the Doctor's daughter.
He's really good at it. We're in a tunnel.
Ah, best lighting in a tunnel, best lighting in a tunnel.
Well, there's-
Ah.
I always think of Princess Diana when I come into a tunnel.
Oh,
Hitchin, historic market town. Oh, gosh, look at this.
lovely.
This is rather lovely, actually.
It's really nice.
Take that. What's it? Hitchin.
Take that lived in Hitchin.
No. Has it got a Pizza Express, do you think? It looks like the sort of place
I'm
that would have
sure it looks like it has a
It
Pizza
feels like somewhere
Express.
Prince Andrew might have gone.
Oh yeah, that was in Woking.
That's the thing. I was at a Pizza Express birthday party with Beatrice.
Yes.
Not
sweating.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm alright, you? Hi, Georgia.
Hi, Adrian.
Signs on the bookcase there, the kind of way out and the building 3. They're from Television Centre. The day it was closing, I started texting my friend who I realised was still working in the building, going, Nikki, rip me anything off the wall. I want anything. Just get me a sign. Just get me something. And she got the 3 building and the way out and sent it to me. So they're quite treasured little possessions of mine now. Such a weird thing, but things like that matter. On the day it the first episode went out on TV. This arrived in the post, and it's of my friend Tim, who works in computing, and he had. Oh no, it can't have been on the first day. It must have been, I don't know, the day of the second series or something. He had taken every single frame of series 1 and put it in a computer. So this is every single frame condensed down of the first series of White Van Man.
Where am I?
TV show. You're there.
As usual.
Surely.
That is such a thoughtful
What
gift.
what a beautiful gift that is, right? Ridiculous. Because also the time and the thought of it, just it really mattered. I mean, he's dead to me now. We don't talk about it.
Do you ever take naps?
Do you know what? I fight it. Sometimes I can see the bed out the corner of my eye, just sort of going, come on, have a lie down on.
Who would notice?
Who would know? That's the
Yeah.
problem. That's it. That sometimes I will, like, if I'm like, you know, sometimes you got the maelstrom in your head when you're writing.
Yeah.
It's all a bit crazy. Sometimes if I do lie down and sort of do that thing where it's almost between sleep and awake, my brain sorts itself out a little bit, and I go, oh, that's what I do, and then get up and write.
Is this your ideal writing space right now?
I flit in and out of love and hate with this at the moment.
Okay.
It's taken me a while to get it to a point where I can do this in here. Because it's the spare room in the house as well, there's often, you know, clothes drying in here, or sometimes people have stayed, and it's weird that I come back into it after, like, the in-laws have stayed, and part of me's like that. What have you done to that bit of the desk? Why is that there?
Yeah.
Who left the towel on here?
Yeah, exactly.
I do this job because I wanted to work at the BBC. When I was a kid, we used to watch TV, and you'd always see TV Centre, and there'd just be the big concrete donut, and then the bit in the middle, mountain, and all that sort of stuff in
What was
Eros at
that
the top.
on in the front?
Oh, it's just gone. It's gone. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And
so
well, the
sad.
thing with that was you used to be able to watch that, and you'd go, they make TV there. That's where TV gets made.
Okay.
And that's where they do it. And now they're all sort of faceless buildings. Nobody knows really what Channel 4 looks like, or ITV.
No,
you know.
that's so true.
So, but the BBC felt like that's where they make things. So I grew up knowing I wanted in there, and I didn't know how to get in. So I thought, oh, I'll do acting. Is that how you get in? So I tried that for a bit, didn't love it or connect with it.
Right.
Found stand-up and liked that. But I look back now and I realise, oh, you liked it because you liked being the writer. You liked writing the stuff.
Right.
The actual getting up on stage in a club in Bradford on a Tuesday night in the rain to a load of drunks was not the fun bit.
Yeah, not the BBC.
But yeah, not that. Although, actually, that was the thing that got me in at the BBC first, because I started doing studio warm-up on
Oh yeah, of
TV
course.
shows.
Yeah. Did you do Miranda?
No, I never did Miranda.
You did Watson.
You
saw
saw
him
me.
something.
It was Catherine Tate's Christmas thing that David was in. Yeah, that was weird. I think we just made the pilot for White Van Man or something, or we just cast you or something. It was weird because you kind of walked in. I was like, oh, this is a weird position for me to be in doing the thing, and that's like it was. Yeah, it was a sort of cross the boundary.
Yeah. That is.
Like, oh, I don't know. Okay, yeah, okay.
So if you had an idea and you wanted to write it, you wouldn't go outline first? Or?
No, I don't know. So here's how I work. I've always got a note in my phone ready to go that's a kind of writey one with ideas. So
like the notes section?
In the notes, the kind of notes app.
Kind of like you.
Yeah.
George's very notes section.
Are you?
Sorry.
We're not words over, you're talking now. Good, okay.
Yeah. Your
Okay.
phone is filled with
Oh, yeah.
notes.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something really... It's nice having somewhere to put all that stuff. But then if I've got a project, I'll have one for whatever I'm working on at that point in time.
Okay.
So then just as I'm walking the streets or having coffee with friends or taking a kid to school or something, taking one of my kids to school, let's rephrase that.
Clarifying.
Yeah, it's a haunting way to put it. Just, I run a service. If you need your children taken to school, this guy. And then just if I'm walking around, I get a thought or an idea or a kind of, oh, well, that should happen in this next scene. I've got somewhere to put it.
Okay.
And occasionally I'll write it in there, then I'll email it to myself so it's on the desktop. And then I'll keep doing that, and I won't try and write anything for a while.
So how long is that process?
As long as it needs to be. There's a point where you go, oh, I've got quite a lot of thoughts and ideas, and I think I know. I think I like to know roughly where I'm starting and very roughly how I think something's going to end.
Right.
And then the notes are sort of the bit in the middle. I used to get a whiteboard, and I've got loads of post-it notes.
I noticed those.
Yeah, I used to have like a whiteboard, and I used to write little bits on each post-it note, and then you can sort of put them on the whiteboard and move them around and go, oh, that's in the wrong place, so I'll put that there and that one there, and then.
And have you act structured it at this point? Is it like Act 1, Act 2? No.
Maybe I've drawn a line on it to pretend it is, but I don't.
But you're not. It's just
I think I've hit a point where that stuff's instinctual now.
Oh, that's
Maybe
great.
it's a bit arrogant to feel that way, but I do. That I think I know the rhythm of television and stuff that I write in, particularly now. So I think I feel that, because the truth of the matter is that although it feels like you've got a structure or a roadmap, then when you actually start writing it, most of that will get abandoned.
Yeah,
but
of course,
it's something nice to be able to go, oh, what? Not get to the end of a scene and go, oh, what do I do now? Because that's the whole. Oh god, it's just white. It's just white space. Oh god,
I'm just gonna have a nap. I remember you once saying to me, I was like, which project shall I work on? Shall I work on this, or, which has got potential of, you know, having in any way some kind of financial reward, or shall I work on this? And you were like, you just answered the question because you became so excited talking about
you see it in people's faces when they talk about it. And I've done that exact thing. I did it in America quite a lot, and it's why I have a mixed experience from when I worked in the States, because there was a period of time when my agents and producers and that, because I'd arrived and worked in kind of network TV and network sitcom, which the American version of that is very different from the British version. Right. They were all kind of, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. And I ended up trying to create projects for something I was not passionate in and didn't care about or really want to do. And the ideas I was having that were exciting, I was getting negativity from the people around me on. So I chased the other thing and wrote like 3 years of absolute dog shit. Just because I wasn't into it. So I wasn't writing well because it was bad. The ideas weren't what I wanted it to be. But then the second, the great example of it is that during COVID, I sat down in the first week and thought to myself, oh, what have I always wanted to write? You've got a bit of time now. What's the crazy project that you've never had the balls to write? And I sat down and spent 2 weeks and I wrote literally the best thing I've ever written. And I remember sending it to my agent, and he just came back the next day and went, no notes, I'm sending it to 5 producers. And it was one of those moments where I was like, oh, okay, that never happens. And I sort of learnt a lesson from that, in that kind of, you've really got to do things you either really enjoy because that you think they're brilliant projects. I think as a writer, you have to hit a point where you can say to if a TV company says no and it becomes a dead project, you have to be able to say to yourself, they're wrong. That's their mistake.
I have to ask about Ollie. Okay.
Oh, these are the projects I'm sort of working on at the moment.
Oh, I love how writers are working
blur them,
on
but
so
none
many.
of them will ever get made, so it's fine.
No, it's
fine. Oh, that one will. That's actually happening. That's you.
That's
you. That's the audio
Jenny.
thing. Yeah, she's giving me work again.
And Ashes is your stand-up tour?
Ashes is the stand-up tour that I did last year. I hadn't done stand-up in ages. Had some stuff in my life I wanted to talk about. Felt like the right place to do it, so got out on stage again after like 12 years of not doing stand-up and did it again. And I think I'm going to try and do something without the stories that are in there. I'm trying to work out what it looks like. It might end up just being a memoir to write down, but I don't really write like long form like that. So I'm trying to work out what it looks like if I turn it into a TV thing or a film, and I'm still not sure. So that's why it hangs in the middle there.
Do you work on something and then think, oh, I'm stuck. Okay, I'm going over to this.
Can't do it. No,
so it's got to be one project.
Yeah. I don't like it. I was chatting to some friends the other day, and I was saying that I was really struggling with Ollie, the top thing I'm writing there, and I was really struggling with it because with stuff that had been going on in my life and general things, I couldn't find momentum with it. And I like to keep momentum. I like it to be sort of all-consuming, that I know where each day I open a laptop and I know where I'm off to. I couldn't park that and then go on to the next bit and then come back and go on to that bit and then go on to that bit. My brain doesn't work like that. There's lots of writers that do. I can't write scenes out of order. I like to start at the top and go.
Yeah, whereas some writers can jump around. I can't.
Paul Abbott will write like the last scene of the 3rd episode and then come back and write what are you doing?
Yeah.
Don't do
That. It's so
Just got
difficult.
Paul Abbott's name. I don't know. I think I've read it in a book.
My mate Paul. But I suppose that momentum is quite hard to get nowadays with kids.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. It feels like your school day, like 5-minute walk to school from here, so it's fine. But you think, okay, so that's problematic. and then they're around, and
Yeah.
you know, you have those days when you're like that. I just bung him his iPad to tell him to watch YouTube and stick him in his room. That'll be fine.
Right,
That'll be all right.
So
That's fine.
your...
And then
Yeah.
then I'll be able to work. But yeah, it's a lot harder with children because it's the momentum you lose.
Yeah, I
And
totally get that.
like you say, your working day suddenly becomes, you know, I'm a writer as well. I'm pissing around, checking my emails and dicking around on the internet for hours. I'm not sitting down opening the laptop and starting. Often I start at 2 o'clock because I've faffed around all day and then have a panic that I've done nothing. And then I'm furious at myself and the world. Do you know the hardest thing that I find when writing is naming characters? There are other writers who are like that. Yep, just get Bosh, do it.
Yeah.
And I spend ages going, no, she's not a Miriam. No, she's a Susan. No, Susan's not right because of this. And it takes me ages. And then you find the right name and you go, oh, okay, know exactly who they are now. Because there's something in workshopping through the names that aren't right for them because it weirdly tells you who they are when you find the right one.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone, that.
That's like I've heard different actors say when they put on the costume or the shoes, they have to find the right shoes or something. Like so maybe it's
a bit
a similar
like that.
thing.
So when I write sci-fi stuff for her, Jesus Christ, making up alien races is the worst thing in the world.
No, it's not as bad as having to say them. Awful days.
I purposefully write her very long speeches because I know that she has to say them when she's running and or pretending to run. It's quite fun.
Wow, it's just fast is funny. Yeah.
Fast is funny.
And so you have Georgia's voice in your head, but you don't have. If you start writing a script, you don't have a certain actor's voice in your head.
Or is it always me?
It's always you.
Yeah.
Are we both just always writing for you? I feel like I write my scripts to make Georgia laugh.
Unfortunately, I've written for her more than any other actor I've worked with, which should tell us something about both of our careers.
Yeah.
But it's more helpful though, isn't it?
I mean, when you come into a series
like Jenny, which is long
like
running,
Jenny, or even Doctor Who, or anything like that's an established series, you should be able to. The characters should be loud enough to speak. You know roughly what works for them. And then when they've been going for a while, you get that nice amalgam of who and what the character is with the actor that performs them.
Right. Yes.
So then you can lean into both of what they are, or what they do well and what wheelhouse and the relationship with the other people. So that's fun.
Which you did Trolleyed. So coming on to Trolleyed, there was already you came in on season 2, right?
Yeah,
so,
that was mad.
Yeah.
I came in on season 2, and there were. The Trolley was massive. It's a sitcom on Sky set in a supermarket. And it had something ridiculous, like 14 main characters.
Oh my!
Because they wanted there was like the meat counter and the people on the checkouts, and then some shoppers, and then somebody in the fish counter, and the shelf stackers, and it was lovely.
Yeah.
But I remember a meeting with Sky very early on when I agreed to sort of do series 2, and them saying we're really excited what new characters you might bring into it. I was like, that new ones? We'll have a chat with the actors and tell them which ones we're going to take lines off for this, because it's 22 minutes because it's Sky, so it's got advert breaks.
Oh god!
So if you're thinking about that, and I hate to get all production-y, not writery, but if you think about that, and you've got 12, 14 actors, they're all got about 3 minutes if you divide it up each.
Yeah.
Like, all right. So obviously we've got to give Jane Horrocks and Mark Addy lots. So who are we not? Who are we
underserving? Yeah. What brought you back to stand up in Ashes?
So my dad died a year and a half ago, and there'd been a sort of few bits of stuff with him and my relationship with him. Basically, he scattered my mum's ashes without me. I'm an only child, and I was stood at the door maybe 4 or 5 weeks after my mum's death, and I just said, "Oh, next time I come back, we should work out where we're going to scatter mum's ashes." And he went, "Oh, we've done it." And it was, I knew that I had to work through a lot of stuff around that. So I found a lot of stories that I was telling myself around this stuff after my mum's death. And then I went into therapy and did a bit of therapy as well. Through that, and actually had a really nice relationship with a therapist where we both enjoyed laughing at the ridiculousness of some of the stuff as well.
Nice.
And then my dad got diagnosed with terminal cancer, and I realised that I was at a point where our relationship was quite good, and I'd been able to forgive a few things. And then just towards the end of that, I realised I'd opened a note in my phone and I was just writing stories down. And I looked at them one day and I went, well, this is stuff that I want to tell people because this is how I work through it. And I thought, oh, I'll turn it into a film or I'll turn it into a play. And then I had a moment when I just thought, I'm not ready to let other people say these things yet. These are my stories.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But I didn't want them to just be there. I wanted to put them out into the world because I also thought they were helpful things for other people who'd been through stuff. So I I said to my wife one day, I'm going to book a stand-up tour and I don't know why. And she went, that's the best thing that I've heard you say in years. Oh, so I just rang up a load of theatres that I knew and fringe festivals and just booked in like 15.
Had you written it by that
point?
point?
Oh God, no.
Oh my God.
Oh God, no.
So bad.
I reckon I had half of it, and then there's a pub in town that's got a little barn at the back, and I thought I can get 40 of my friends in here, and I got 40 like friends from the school gates and just a few people I knew, and just stood on stage for about an hour and a half and just rattled through the stories, and I sort of put them in an order that I thought I think this makes sense. Okay. And at the end of it, I thought, yeah, that'll do me. And I didn't think I'll cut that story, that doesn't work, and it was such a pure form of writing because I'd done all the things we've talked about earlier, but I'd been doing it with reason because like when Dad was ill I was just sat by the bed and stuff and just tap away on my phone and just it was something for my brain to do. And then I just thought I'm not done with this yet because I'd found a positivity in it. So I went out and did it on tour because I wasn't ready to let it go yet.
Yeah, that must have been so scary. Like the vulnerability of those.
I don't think if it had been scarier. Yeah, it was very vulnerable, but I also look back on all of the stand-up I'd ever done before, and a lot of the writing I'd ever done before, and gone, why are we not just doing this? Why are we not just being this honest and this raw and this?
Yeah, because that's what people connect to, obviously, way more than just like I saw a funny thing the other day on the tube.
Yeah, I'd come out of venues afterwards, and there'd be people that would have stopped back to just sort of talk to me, or like I remember one girl after one show in I can't remember where it was, but she'd made her dad stay back and just gone, it's really affected him because just hearing you talk about going into therapy over this stuff and that is just, it's good. And I think, and it was just really nice to go, yeah, it's just a shared experience. It reminded and refreshed me a lot with writing that it is a shared experience, and it doesn't matter if you're writing a ridiculous, brilliant sci-fi show or a comedy or a really macabre drama. It doesn't. It's not just always the story's always interpreted by people who are listening to it through their own filter of their life, and that's why TV particularly is important. Because
do you aim when you're writing then to sort of like hit your own emotions? Like, do you ever write a scene like crying? But in a good way. Like
I have done, and I really hate that as an answer because I just like any other writer that just said that, I'd be like, oh yeah, you indulgent prick. Yeah, but I have, only when
it's personal.
I've really gone on a good journey in the script, and I've got to a point where there's been not all the time, but things when I've written about things from my life that I've then put into other people's voices, or I've really connected with the people in it because. You know, sometimes you create characters and you fall in love with them, but they're the ones you inevitably hurt because, you know, if you look at any good story ever, it's always the funny character or the charming character that ends up getting hit by the car, you know. Yeah,
totally.
You know, Mercutio dies in Romeo and Juliet because he's the one that everyone wants to be friends with. He's the charming one. Nobody really cares about Romeo.
No.
It's Mercutio. Of course you're going to kill him.
Yeah, that's so true.
The act of writing is very vulnerable. It doesn't matter what you're writing. You can't help but put some of you into it. And weirdly, to sort of bring it kind of back to the room, that's why I like having like memorabilia like this and bits and bobs of like this is from a coffee shop in America that I used to go to quite a lot.
Amazing.
This used to be on the wall in the first ever comedy club that I performed in. And when it closed, they used to have like loads of photos of comedians up. And then one of the Thunderbirds in the middle of it. And I remember literally when it was closed, ripping it off the wall and sticking it in my coat and going, I want that. That's one of the first places I felt at home. So there's always this vulnerability and truth to what you're putting out there. It doesn't matter what you're writing, if you should be connecting with it. So yeah, I have cried when I've written stuff and laughed. But you know, the next day you read it again.
Like,
What you say you're like that? Why was I crying at this shit? This is awful.
And do you find you're always in a script yourself? Are you like, oh, there's me, I'm that guy?
I hope not.
Yeah, right, but probably.
I mean, I'm in everything somewhere,
Yeah.
but not that any specific character that's me. There's elements of me. You know, even the worst characters are right. I bet there's something in me that I wouldn't like people to know was me in there.
Yes,
Inevitably.
definitely.
You just have
And
to
it
not
kind of
care.
is.
Yeah, you just have to not care. You just have to know that that's... In White Van Man, my sort of first kind of big sitcom-y thing, there's a character that is the lead character's dad. He's called Tony and he has a little white moustache. My dad is called Tony and has a little white moustache and spent a lot of his youth as a builder. And my father just didn't, at no point ever went, is that me?
Oh, right.
Is that clearly? Is everything about him is you? And all my cousins would be like that. Oh my God, you've just put Dad on screen.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I've never known if it was a kind of he just didn't want to acknowledge it and have that conversation. But also I think it just breezed over him. I think when people see themselves on screen.
Yeah, they don't think it's,
No,
completely.
I'm not a prick like that. Why?
I lived with a writer during drama school, and I did something which is quite typically me. I wanted to make hot chocolate, and I thought, I need to heat up the milk. Why don't people put milk in a kettle? I'll just put milk in a kettle.
Yeah.
And so I put milk in a kettle.
Okay, so that's the stuff that I love. That's the stuff
Yeah.
I think that is, you take something like that and you put it in a script or you put it in a story, anything, etc. I remember being at university and having one of those sandwich toasters, and I thought to myself, I'd heard someone say, well, yeah, you butter it so it doesn't, so I was buttering the sandwich toaster. And I remember someone walking up to me going, why don't you just butter the bread? And I thought, oh yeah, I'm an idiot, yeah. I didn't know that's,
Oh, that's amazing.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
But I like the human brain. I think that's why I'm a writer. I like how different and the same all human beings are. And it's
logic.
about manipulating that into whether it goes up or down in the story.
Yes, totally. And then years later, that housemate had a play on, and I went to see the play, and this girl called Daisy, who was like a fucking idiot, put milk in a kettle, and I was like, as I was watching it, when she put the milk in the kettle, I was like, oh, this is me. This is how someone sees me. Okay, good.
You call her Janice. You can't call her
No,
actual
she went
Daisy.
fully fledged.
It's okay
And
when
I
it's my,
texted her before the
when it's
show.
my dad.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, okay. And
I'll tell you what happened with that writer. That character
Yeah.
had become Daisy the character.
Yeah.
And Daisy the character had put milk, and she'd forgotten that had ever happened from you, actual real Daisy. Like,
Although I texted her before the show saying, hey, surprise, I'm seeing your show. And she was like, oh my God, get out.
You're going to love Act
Like,
2.
it's like, yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for having us. I feel like that's good, right? How long have we been talking?
I was going to say.
Okay, here we are. Oh, he's not coming. He's gone out.